insights into the views and circumstances of others, strength to seek what we believe in, humility to accept the combined decisions of others, patience, good humour at all times, tolerance and courtesy while working in the best interests of our community. Councillors, if I could just begin today, not formally on the agenda, but the acknowledgement of the passing of the Right Honourable Mike Moore, former Prime Minister of New Zealand, albeit for 59 days, but a man that had a considerable impact on New Zealand and an Aucklander, and really, I don't want to give a eulogy here. There'll be eulogies aplenty on Friday at the formal public funeral, but to acknowledge a man that will probably be the last person that adopted or took up the position of Prime Minister without a formal education, a man that was true to his working class upbringing, a man that grew up in poverty, and a man that went on to hold one of the highest international positions that a New Zealander has ever held. I think a number of us around this table knew Mike personally. Acknowledge Chris Darby, whom I worked with on Mike's campaign back in 1972. That was a long time ago. Chris had a lot more hair and mine was a different colour, and I had a lot more hair as well. I had really long hair. But Mike was I think a very special person that particularly in my own area of interest in international trade helped reshape New Zealand and made a huge contribution. So I'd just like to move that we acknowledge his passing and that on behalf of Council that I write to his widow Yvonne Moore to thank her for his service and acknowledge the contribution that he made to our country. And perhaps I'll invite Chris Darby to second that. Thank you. So I think I can move that without discussion unless somebody felt obliged to make a comment. So Councillor Fletcher.
As a former Member of Parliament for Eden, Mount Eden as it was, or Eden, the bellwether seat in those days,
was.
I would just like to, as a former national Member of Parliament, to reflect on the generosity of spirit of Mike Moore. He was an extraordinary man, and I think it's highly appropriate that you have acknowledged him today for the contribution to New Zealand. But I would really like people to realise he was a passionate, while he came from Northland, he was passionate about Auckland too, and I drew on his wisdom on many occasions, and can I say he always responded in a completely non-partisan way, and it was a pleasure to know him. So thank you for giving us this opportunity to acknowledge him today.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher, and I think it's fair to say that the respect that will be shown for Mike and was shown in his lifetime came from both sides of the House, which was again a measure of the man. Okay, I'll move that resolution. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no, and carried unanimously. We come now to apologies. I have an apology from Councillor John Watson, who is on council business. Are there any other apologies? If not, I'll move that we accept those apologies, seconded by Councillor Simpson. All those in favour, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Carried. Thirdly, declaration of interest. Is there any member of the governing body with an interest they need to declare that's relevant to today's proceedings? If not, there are no petitions. Public input. There were 4 requests for public input, all to do with the trees on Owaraka, and after advice, they were declined under section Standing Order 7.7.4b, as there's a separate consultation process attached to this matter through the annual budget process, and that will be a discussion that we'll have into the next item to go through what that process is. But I think that it's important that we observe our standing orders and follow them, and those requests were declined. Councillor Casey.
May we know who asked to speak, please?
Yes, certainly. There were 4 requests. Lisa Praga, Suala Wilson, Gail Baldock and Shirley Waru. Local board input, there's been no request for any local board input. Extraordinary items, none notified